While I'm on the subject of fuel bottles, uh, just give you a little look at this bad boy. Uh, if you don't want to piddle around with little 1 liter bottles, we got our 20 liter here. NATO fuel can. Once again, kind of bucked the carb rules. This is sold as an oil can on a site called Old Grouch Military Surplus, made in Europe. I don't know if it's made in Spain or Italy or somewhere. It's an actual NATO one. You can tell, one of the big ways you can tell with these ones is the weld is recessed. Also, there's a weld all the way across holding the handles on up here as well, instead of a little tack weld. Okay. I got a piece of blue tape on here because I stenciled my name on them, and just for OPSEC I put some tape on there so you can't see it. This one's mostly empty. I practiced siphoning this into my car last week, and so basically when I fill it up again I'm going to have to rewrite that. But that's Sharpie. If you don't know, if you have some lacquer thinner, take Sharpie right off metal. It's easy, real easy. And then otherwise it just stays on there. These two holes are for nameplates. I guess there's some of them have like nameplates you can put on there that tell you, like, you know, you can pick which little placard to put on there. Another thing these screw holes are used for, there's a fill spout. One of the nicer fill spouts can have like a bracket that mounts on there, and then it clicks in there. I kind of don't like that because it kind of interferes with the function of the handles to have that on there. And basically what I've been doing is just using it with a siphon anyway. So that's not really necessary to have a nozzle. You know, there's good nozzles and cheap nozzles. This is, you know, based on the original German design from World War II, but this is a current production NATO can. It's very robust. If you're gonna have gas in a vehicle, this is really a way to go. You know, it's really interesting. A lot of the carb compliant cans actually leak more gas. This doesn't leak. This is not carb compliant. It doesn't leak at all. You know, you have to be careful when you open it, because it'll outgas. You know, it'll pop because it's sealed really tight. Okay, and it's designed to be self-pressurized, basically. You know, so you just have to be careful there. There might be a little bit of a spray. You know, I don't really think that's destroying the environment. It's got this cool little locking lever. Like, what you have to do is you have to pull this out before you can pop it open. So this keeps it shut, and it makes it so you can't accidentally open this, like by if you bump it or something snags on it. So that's pretty cool. So like I said, Old Grouch's Military Surplus, they get them in. They also have them in OD green. Okay, but and they can get away with that because this is actually being sold as an oil can. It's not being sold as a gas can, and I'm basically the person who's breaking the rules if I put gas in it, which I may or may not have done. Okay, but you know, the reason it wouldn't be sold as a gas can has nothing to do really with how safe it is. It really has to do with, you know, the carb laws. You know, I saw a guy who camouflaged one of those plastic cans with the plastic spray paint, the special spray paint for plastic, and when you know it, it bubbled up. Now, why would that bubble off there? You know, and the answer is because the gas was permeating through the plastic and attacking the paint from the underside. It's ridiculous. You know, you come up with all this nonsense, you know, and the nozzle you got to hold 6 different ways, so that basically what you're saying is that what people are going to do is fill their lawnmowers up and then leave the can with the top off, and then all the fuel's going to evaporate out and harm the environment. You know how much fuel costs? You know, I mean, who are these people who are doing this? You know, I mean, they're idiots. And so because there's some idiots out there They need to make some ridiculous law, and we all have to suffer with this ridiculous contraption that doesn't work very well, that essentially the whole purpose of it is once I'm done filling my lawnmower, by the time I pull it out of the lawnmower, it's already sealed itself up. It sounds great in theory, but in reality, you know, this, you know, I guarantee you, if you went back in time to the people who designed this and explained to them what your concerns were, environmental concerns that resulted in the carb law, I'm pretty sure they'd laugh at you in German and then, you know, do whatever it is that they were doing. But these are great. If you don't understand what the three handles are for, the reason there's three handles is that if you have empty cans, you can actually hold, if you can imagine two of the cans next to each other, you can grab them and you can actually carry 4 empty cans. Okay, one person can carry 4 empty cans fairly easily. And then obviously you want it centered if it's full, you know, so that it's not banging into your leg. Also, if 2 people were carrying, you know, you can each have your own handle. So yeah, it's really well thought out design, and I've had these for a couple months. They look pretty. It looks pretty pristine because I'm really trying not to treat them roughly, because I want them to last as long as possible. But yeah, I purchased 5. I think there's a deal where if you purchase 4, so I purchased 4 of the red ones and 1 of the green ones. The construction's identical on the green ones. But this one, like I said in the camp stove video, I can take this right to a gas station and fill this up, you know, because despite the fact it's not carb compliant, you know, there's no onus on gas stations. You know, they're looking out for the fact that it's red, basically. They see it's red, they pretty much, you know, you can't train gas station clerks just in the finer points of carb compliance, basically, I guess. But, you know, they basically say, is it red? Is it designed for fuel? Okay, it's good to go. You know, so, you know, as always, whenever you're filling any container, make sure it's on the ground and grounded, basically. You don't want any static electricity, which might be a little bit more of an issue with a steel can, but, yeah, I have had no issues thus far. Like it a lot. They're about, I think they're about $50 each. If you buy 4 of them, you get a free one of their basic spouts free. I haven't really used the spouts. There's an O-ring seal in here. I picked up a couple of the extra O-rings for those. Yeah, and basically what this lets me do is I can basically double the range of one of our cars. Got a little 4-banger, you know, if I put 3 or 4 of these in there, that's basically doubling the gas carrying capacity of the vehicle. You just have to pull off somewhere and siphon it, basically. So yeah, I have the green one set up with kerosene in it. Basically, if I was, you know, at the bug out location, if I was using kerosene appliances, you know, I have sort of a grab and go 5 gallons or 20 liters. 20 liters is actually a little bit more than 5 gallons of kerosene. So yeah, and I have that, you know, marked in a similar way. You want to be careful to mark them accurately for yourself, so that you know what's in there. Now, I did put some fuel stabilizer. Supposedly you can you know, keep it for up to a year, and then you want to start thinking about stabilizer. I rotated this out very early because I wanted to just try out the siphon and see how it worked, and I got most of it. There's a little bit sloshing around in the bottom. The shaker siphon, the trick with that is you have to then, once it's running, you have to get it in the lowest point of the container, and then, you know, maybe tilt the container so that it's like down in the bottom corner of it to get most of it out. And because the problem is once the level gets low, you can't really start the shaker siphon up again. The shaker siphon, you know, it's easy to start when it's full, you know, but when it gets really low, then it's hard to get the shaker siphon. It's hard to prime the shaker siphon. If you ever seen what that is. If you don't know what that is, I guess, you know, just look it up. It's essentially a tube with a glass ball on the end, and you shake it. So you don't have to, you know, do any of that nonsense, you know, redneck sucking on a tube and getting a mouthful of gas or anything like that. So now you all want to be especially careful with that, because you're basically moving a plastic or vinyl thing in proximity to fuel vapor, moving it rapidly. I've seen people do it before, and I did it, like I said, this past week, and nothing exploded on me. But you know, be careful once again. You know, make sure that's grounded. You know, and try not to. You know, definitely don't be rubbing it. Don't be using a shaker siphon wearing a wool sweater or something like that it's rubbing on or something, because you could get some static discharge, and I'm pretty sure that would be catastrophic. So, but yeah, as long as you know, just exercise caution. You know, there's a lot of cheap imitations of these cans on the market, so you want to look out for that. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. I know Sportsman's Guide had some for $35 that seemed like they were basically the same thing. I'll show you some of the markings on here. Wavian. I don't know if that's a maker mark or whatnot. There really isn't much else on here. So date stamp 2013. Yep, I think that it says 13 there, so I think that's also. Yep. So yeah, and a little instruction panel here. Basically, the thing you got to keep in mind is when you're closing it, this step 3 here is the most important thing here. When you're oh no, sorry, this one right here they haven't read. Step 1, when you're closing it, okay, is that once it's open, you have to lift it up to close it, because it kind of settles down in. So yeah, once you do it a couple times, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty intuitive then from then on. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys. You know, some fuel storage. If there's ever a run basically on the gas stations and I couldn't get gas, I, you know, have a little bit of a leeway. It's not a ton of leeway, but you know, and we try and keep the vehicles at least half full. But if they were for empty for some reason, we could fill them up. You know, if we need to get somewhere, and you know, I think that's something that could happen. You know, so best to be at least a little prepared for it. You know, don't want to speculate too much on that, but a little bit of preparedness probably is not a horrible thing to have as far as that goes. And having a fuel-efficient vehicle is also an important thing. You know, I mean, you get to a situation if you're trying to fill a big gas-guzzling monstrosity, you know, all of a sudden, you know, just 5 gallons, it's, you don't get much bang for your buck basically there. So we've got 2 little 4-cylinder cars, and we get, you know, a decent amount of mileage out of the, I think they're 14 or 15 gallon tanks that the cars have. So yeah, 3 of these, 4 of these, I mean, we're more than doubling the range of the car. So it gives us, if we had the car full already, you know, we were talking like 600 or 700 miles probably if you're careful, that you could probably get one way basically, or round trip, which basically would put us to my parents' house, you know, a lot of different other places, if we had to basically get out of Dodge. So yeah, thanks for watching.